Hi everyone, sorry about the delay. I had some issues with Zoom this morning. Um, Let me set up my stuff here now that I've got that cleared up. How are y'all doing?
Good, good.
Good to hear. Just give me a second. Also having problems with Brightspace as well. Okay. Is there? Huh? That is acting weird. Yeah. Sorry, everybody. I'm just having all kinds of problems with my computer today. The computers. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. I think I've got everything I need now working properly. Okay, so what I'd like for you to do, we're actually going to continue. Actually, no. Let's create a new folder system. We're going to start pretty much the same. We're going to that we did in the last class. So it can look very similar if you want. And we're going to sort of continue with the same lessons that we were working with regard to JavaScript, and then I'm going to add some other things to that. So it's a little bit of a review. Looking for something here. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Well, this is our 10th tutorial. So in our wrapper, let's see, we're going to do something super simple here. We need a heading. Page here. Morning, Soak. Morning. All right, so well, this is pretty standard, right? There's nothing brand new here. Let's go ahead and add our CSS file. We're going to go ahead and put the link here, though. Might as well. Oops. Why is it doing that? L-I-N-K. Everything is acting kind of weird today. Well, that's the link to my style sheet, which I'm naming just styles. So to the CSS folder. I'll save this as styles.css. And then add my styles. Hmm. I'm going to give my button an ID. And I'll just call it V for button. So my button has that ID, and that's how I'm going to style it, and I'll probably use it with JavaScript as well. Well, maybe not, but definitely style it this way. Rather than use the input, because I might use some other types of inputs instead of just buttons, maybe text boxes, for example. So I want to style them differently. So I'm going to style this with an ID. So instead of putting input, I'll do B. Let's see. So okay. Maybe I didn't save that. There we go. To see what's going on here. Just temporary background color because this is not behaving exactly the way I want. There we go. Okie dokie. So I'd like for you to create 4 more pages and they should look exactly like this. The only difference will be you'll put like page 2 or page 3 or whatever, 3, 4, right? And put those in the HTML folder, right? So this is our index. It looks like this. The other pages are going to look exactly the same, right? With a heading and a button. You can put other stuff if you want, but that's all you really need to do for this. Okay, so I'll just basically copy my index and put it in HTML folder. And rename that to, let's say, 2. And then 3. And then just copy and paste or duplicate, whichever you prefer. That's weird. Oh, no wonder I'm in why am I in tutorial 8 here? Ugh, I'm doing everything wrong today. Go. What? Oh, that's because I copied and pasted the wrong one. Okay, let me try this again. Gosh. Ugh. Oh, one more time. There we go. So for page 2, I'm going to call this just page 2. Page 2. 3, same thing. Page 4. Now in these pages that are inside of the HTML folder, right? The 2, 3, 4, and 5, we have to change the CSS link, right? We have to remember to do that. Put the // in front of CSS for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okie dokie. Y'all with me?
Yep.
So you might have surmised that we're going to use the button to randomly select a page from any of the 5 pages, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, or index, right? And then have it go to that page. So we're going to use JavaScript for that. It's rather different from choosing a random image, because last class we chose a random image and we just had an index, right? And the random image just went directly into the index. Now the problem here is that when we're linking to a page, right? Depending on where we are, the instructions to go to the page will be different. So if we're in the main folder in the index and we're going to one of these pages, we have to make sure that we use the name of the folder first before we put the name of the file. However, if we're inside here and we're randomly choosing a file and it randomly selects the index, well, that means we have to put the dot dot slash right in front of it. So the path is going to be different depending on where we are currently, right? Which file we're looking at. So we're going to play around with this. These are like multiple conditions that we have to think about. Is the condition that we're in the main folder, or is the condition that we're outside in the HTML folder? In those two cases, our conditions are going to be different, right? We'll tell the instructions will be different where to go. But we'll figure that out. So we're going to, intentionally make a few mistakes before we finally get it all right. But we need a JavaScript file. So and we also need the link here. So we might as well go ahead and stick the link in here with the script tags, right? Oops. Script, gosh. Now I'm doing it in the to file, right? So I have to come out of the current folder. Excuse me. Okay. So that's going to be for 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Okay. So I'm going to save that and copy it. Put it in 3. Save. Put it in 4. Save. Put it in 5. And save. So we have that link in 2, 3, and 4, and 5. Now I have to put it in the index. But it's a little different in the index, right? Because we don't need, oh wait, what happened? I meant to copy this. There we go. We don't need the dot dot slash when we're in. Oh, and you notice I put a dot there. Oh, that's silly. Man, I'm doing so many things wrong today. So it's JS from the index. It's JS/scripto1. And I put a dot here. I have to change that to a slash. I have to do that to each one of these. Okay, so that's from inside the HTML folder. And this is from the index. So we'll start with making it work for the index, right? We'll write a script and we're going to make it work for the index. And then we'll see how to work on that for the other files. All right, so that means we need a JavaScript file in our JavaScript folder. I'm going to call this, as I did, script01.js. Type myself some notes. A function to randomly choose a page and go to it. So I might as well name my function, what I'm going to do, what it's going to do. So I'm going to call it function random page because I'm so creative. And just like on Tuesday, I'm going to create an array of page names, right? On Tuesday, we created an array of image names. Here, I'm just going to create an array of page names. So var, I'll call it P for page, for the array for page names. So let me write that down. Create an array of page names. So var P equals new array. P0 equals index.html. P1 equals 2.html. P2 equals 3.html. P3 equals 4.html. And P4 equals 5.html. Okay. All right. So in order to randomly select one of those pages, the easiest thing to do is create a random number from 0 to 4, right? So that we can select from the index numbers in the array. That's exactly what we did with the images. We have these numbers and we can just choose a random number for our index. So let's create a variable that will hold that random number. I'll call that n. And remember math.random is what creates a random number. And I'm going to multiply it by how many pages I have here, right? Which is 5, which is the length of my array P, right? So I could put times 5, right? Because there's 5 pages. But what if I decide to add more pages later? So instead of a hard number, I'm going to put P, which is the name of my array, dot length, which is the number of elements in the array, which happens to be 5. But if I later add more pages, this will automatically update and I don't have to ever change that. So if we console.log that, just to see if we get a random number, Oh, I have to call the function, hello. In order for me to see something down here, oops, I have to call this function, right? Right now, the function is just sitting there waiting to be activated. And in order for this to run, I have to call the function by name. So random page. All right, so I get the first time 1.66 blah, 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 3.337, 3.211, 2.0, and so on, right? So it's creating a random number, but recall, right, it's a decimal. And the decimal is not useful because these numbers are integers, right? They're not decimal. So we have to remove the decimal from the random number. And the way we do that is just rounding it all down, math.floor. Putting that whole thing in between the parentheses of another function, math.floor. Opening and closing. We save that, and we try again, and we get 3, 0, 4, 1, 4, 2, 2, 2, 0, 0, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, 3. I haven't got to 1, 5, 4, 0. Right, so we get 0 to 4, which is exactly what we want. Kidoki, excellent. Okay. Now, I want to see if I can get, instead of a number, I want to get one of these pages, right? So what if I put P and then N inside of P, right? P is the name of my array and N is a random number. So we should in our console get the name of one of those pages instead of a number. For index 2, 5, index 3, 3. Okay, all good. Excellent. So that's working. So I can use this then as instructions of which page to go to, right? Okay. So there's a property of the document, which is called location. The location of the document is its address, right? That's in the URL right here. That's the location of the file. So we can just do document.location equals P N. I'm going to comment this out and actually just get rid of the console log. I'm also going to get rid of the function call here. And I'm going to use the function call with the button. So p.n is one of these page names random, right? It's going to be index or 5 or 3 or whatever, right? So that is the name of one of those pages, p.n, a random name of a page. And I'm sending the document, which is this guy right here. I'm sending the document to a new location, which is index.html or for.html or whatever, right? But I want to do that when I click on the button. So that means I'm going to click on the button to activate the function name, right? So I go to the index and we put on click equals random page. Let's see if that works. I have to reload the page. And it tells, the first time it tells me file not found, right? It says it can't locate tutorial 10 3.html. Well, that makes sense because there's no 3.html in the tutorial 10 folder. There's a 3.html in the HTML folder, right? Let's try it again, though. Now it's saying 2.html, right? It can't do 2.html. Okay, because that makes sense because it's in the HTML folder. It's not in the tutorial 10 folder. Now it should work only with the index, right? Because the index is in the tutorial 10 folder. So we can randomly get the index back to 3, 5, 2 again, 3 again. Am I ever going to get index? Oh, I got index, right? So it stayed in the same page. So the index works, but the other 4 pages don't work, right? So that's a condition. The condition is it in the main folder or is it in the HTML folder? Right? Is it in the main folder or is it in the HTML folder? And that depends on whether I end up getting the index, because that's in the main folder. That's in tutorial 10 folder. These other 3 files are in the HTML folder, right? So basically, we have to determine what is our current location. Or what is our current file? Let's see, what file do we choose? Let me figure out the logic here. Just give me a second. So if we are in, if we get the index, then we don't need to add a folder name. If we get the other files, then we do need to add a folder name. Let's try that. Now we might have to change up our logic later, but let's try that. So that means we just have to determine if p.n is equal to index. If p.n, so determine if the randomly chosen file is index.html or not, right? So if p n is equal to index.html. So that means if it randomly selects index.html, right? Then we don't have to add anything to the front. We just have to say, go to the index, right? Document.location equals p n. We don't have to do anything. This worked, right? However, if it's one of the other pages, we do have to add the folder name, right? Else document.location equals HTML, because that's the name of the folder, plus a slash, plus p n, right? Right? So I think that's going to work, but it will only work for the index. Let me get rid of this guy, comment that out. So that basically what I'm asking is, when we did the random number, did it get this page? If it's randomly selected this page, then we just have to tell it to go to that location. The end. because we're currently in the main folder. If it randomly chooses one of the other 4 pages instead, then we have to add or concatenate the name of the folder in front. So it'll be html./2.html or html/3.html and so on. So let's see if that works. Random page, I go to page 4. Now I'm in page 4. It's not going to work in page 4. Nothing. Well, for one thing, we didn't put anything to the button. We didn't call the function with the button in page 3, 4, and 5. This is only going to work in the index right now. So it works. It'll take me to a random page. Unfortunately, I have to hit back each time. So it works no matter what page is selected, which is good. That's what I want. No matter whether it's the home page or page 5 or page 4, it keeps doing page 4 and 5. Page 5, page 4. Why is it only doing those 2 pages? Page 2, it got another one. Okay. So it's randomly choosing a page and going to it, and it works. But this only works from the index, right? This only works from the index. If I'm in, and I might as well go ahead and take that from the button and put it in the other pages. So page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. All right, so I put the function call in the button for all 5 pages. So it works for the index, but now I'm in page 5. Now the function call is going to call the function. But it takes me again to that page not found. That's because now look at this, it's HTML, HTML, 3.html. But now I have to tell it to go out of the current folder, right? Or stay in the current folder. I don't need HTML, HTML, right? Because now it's a totally different condition. We're inside the HTML folder, selecting those files in there, or to go back out of the folder to the index. So it's a totally different set of a different condition. Okay. So this whole thing here only works from the index. So we have to not only determine whether we've selected or whether the random page is selected as the index, but we have to determine whether we are currently looking at the index. If our current page is the index, right? So I know this is a little confusing. So here we're creating a random number, and the random number is going to be 0 through 4, right? And so it's going to randomly choose a page to go to. And so we're saying go to that page here and here. Go to that random page here and here. But it's not asking yet where you currently are. We're currently in the index. I'm just assuming we're in the index. So this works in the index only. So we have to determine, before we even tell where to go, we have to determine where you are. Are you in the index, which is in the main folder, or are you in one of the other pages, which is in the HTML folder? So we have to get our current location. So we need another variable for that. Let's see. Okay, so we need get current location. Okay, so we need a variable for that. And I'm going to call it URL. That's means the web address, right? Uniform Resource Locators, the words, you don't need to know that. Equals, and this is how you get the current location. Window dot location dot path name. And I'll show you. Console.log URL. Now, I'm going to comment this out for a moment so that it doesn't go to a new page while we're working here. So I'm going to put comment marks here just while we're working on this. So in our console, it should give us the current location, which is this path name here. So I need to open up my console again. Oh, wrong page. Oh, it's already showing. Hello. All right, so save and run. I have to make sure I'm in the, click on the button, and then we see the path, the full path name. So it's giving me the full path name, which is great. That's a good place to start. But what I really only need is to know which page I'm in, right? What is the current file? The current file is always going to be the last term here. This last term there. So if I open up, say, page 3 and view my console, when I click on the button, the last term here, it'll say 3.html. For the index, it says index.html. if I open up, say, 5, oops, I don't need this. And click on it, the last term is 5.html, right? So I get the whole URL, but I don't need the whole URL. I just need the last term, so I know which file I'm in. So that means I have to get rid of all this other crap in front of the file name, so that I can just ask, hey, what the hell, what file am I in? Okay. All right. Part of that is what we call splitting this file name by all of those slashes. Notice for each folder, we have a slash in between, right? For each folder, we have a slash in between. So I can break up this file name into different terms separated by the slashes. Let me show you what I mean. Break up path name to different terms with separated by the slash. This guy, right? So how do I do that? Well, I need a new variable. And there's going to be several terms, right? So it's going to be an array. Let's call it var file name equals URL, right? Because that's the name of my variable. URL has the path name in it now, right? URL, and then we're going to do something called split. Split is where we break it up. And then how are we splitting it? We're splitting it at the slash. Okay. Let's see what that does. So instead of putting URL here, I'm going to put the new variable file name there. Now I get an array, and each one of those words in the array, the last one is the name of the file. So if I can do that for any of the pages, now the last term in my array is going to be the name of the file. So in page 5, I get 5.html. In page 3, I get 3.html, the last thing here. In the index, I get index.html is the last thing. Okay, now I'll just have to get rid of everything else but that, right? So we have another function that we can just stick onto the end of that, which is called pop. And pop removes everything but the last guy from the array. So when we run that, now the random page, now it says index from the index, and that's it. From the other pages, page 3, it'll just say 3.html. From page 5, it'll say 5.html, and so on, right? So this little thing here, when you do that to a file name, it'll separate it from the slash, right? Because there's a bunch of terms there. If we look at my file name, look at all those slashes I got there, right? Lots of slashes in the file name. So if I separate those terms with the slashes, then I get a whole bunch of words. It starts with users, then Carter, then desktop, blah, 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 my whole path name. So I split it with that, split it up with that, and then I just got rid of all of those other terms except for the very last one with pop. And so in the file name variable, now I just have the name of the file that I'm looking at, which is exactly what I want. Okay, so now I have the file name. Let me uncomment these guys out. I don't need this console log right now. I'm just going to delete it. I don't need it. Okay, so this contains the file name that I'm currently in, right? That I'm currently in. I'm in the home page, so the file name is index. This here determines what random page I'm going to go to. So this is the future page, and this is the current page, right? So this, I'm sorry, this is the future page with the N, and this is the current page. So this is where I'm going to, this is where I am. So for this conditional is telling me where I'm going to go to, only if I am currently in the index. So we're going to put all of this inside a conditional. This is confusing, watch. So if file name is equal to index.html, I'll do this only if file name is equal to the index. Right? File name is the current location, current page. That will only work from the index. If I'm in any of the other pages, I have to do something else. Else, meaning if I'm in page 2, 3, 4, or 5, if P, same thing, P n is equal to index.html. So if I'm in page 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to go to the index, then document.location equals // plus pn. Else document.location equals just pn. So this is what we call a complex conditional, in which we have conditionals inside of another conditional. It's complicated logic here. Complex conditional. If I'm in the index, or if I'm not in the index. If I am in the index, then if I get the index, I'm just going to go to that. Or I have to add HTML if I'm going to go to the other pages. If I'm not in the index, and I need to go to the index, then I have to add dot dot slash. It's confusing, I know. But sometimes you have to do complicated logic like that. Now it should work from whatever page we select. And it'll just take you to a random page. Does that work for you? I know that's a lot to try to understand, but sometimes you have to like really break down the logic, like depending on the different conditions that you're dealing with. Now, if you end up working with something in your own project, and you want to do something like this and you can't figure out the logic, you can feel free to email me and I'll help you figure it out. Because sometimes if you want to do something complicated, the logic is what stumps people up sometimes. Because this is, if you have conditions, this is nested conditions, right? We have, if this is true, and if this is true, or if this is true, and if this is not true. So it's complicated logic that's sometimes a little difficult to deal with. Okay, what time is it? It's 11 o'clock. Alrighty.
Professor, do you mind
Yeah.
showing me the index folder again?
Show you the file.
Yeah, the index file. Let's see that.
You having an issue?
Just a little bit. I think. Let me see. Oh, so weird. You think I can maybe like share the page? I think probably something.
Yeah, sure, of course. Hold on a second. Let me stop sharing and I'll make you co-host. All right, give it a shot. Oh, yeah, let me take a look at your error here. Unexpected end of, so line. All right, so can you open up this browser window just a little bit? Not, I mean, this code window just a little bit wider. Just what? Oh, yeah, because I think. All right, so you have on click equals random page. That looks fine. You have an extra div tag. No, you're good. Do me a favor though.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I do see some issues here. Hold on a second. So click in front of line 14. This is just sort of for organization in front of that because and then hit tab. Okay, and then in front of line 15, do the same thing. And then 17. And then 19.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to have that though.
And then 20. Okay. Oh, I see what you did. That's fine. And then from line 23, delete.
Delete this.
No, in front of it. Click in front
Oh.
and then delete. And then the same with line 22. And then the same with 21. All right, so I'm just trying to like organize your page because just to make sure that you visually I can see where the div tags are and everything. So ID, okay, that's fine. Save that. Let's go to your script. right, so you're getting unexpected end of, and then random page is not defined. Oh, this is, scroll up for me. Function random page, script 01. So you have these, you're using, what is
Mhm.
script 2 and 3?
It's all like emptied out now.
Oh, I see. Okay, so can we go to your index then again one more time? I'm sorry. The
Yes.
index. Um,
Only deleted.
yeah, but it shouldn't matter. Oh, script 01, script, and then go to script 01.
I think let me like reload the page probably. I don't know, probably something.
Maybe try. I don't. Right. So it. All right. So random page is not defined. HPL on click index. So let's go to your index one more time. I just want to make sure something is not random. Goes random page.
18.
Yeah, because that's telling us that on click is not. It doesn't like on click. Um, okay. Hold on. Just stay there for a second. On click this random page. Script.js. Okay. All right, go to your this is script01.js, and this is in your JS folder. Oh, look at line 31,
Yeah.
where it says index, you have a comma instead of dot.
Uh,
I don't think that's it, but maybe it is. Try it and reload the page and try again. You were still getting that unexpected end of input. It's script01 JS 48.1. Go to line 48 in this. Oh, I see. You didn't close your last brace. So in line 44, click in line 44 and
mm-hmm.
put another brace.
This
Okay.
or
Yeah. And now that's now save and reload.
oh
Okay. JS module files deprecated. Click on that little arrowhead next to where it says CR bug in the error, in the warning. In the warning, the yellow text where it says CR bug.
okay or
Down, down, down. In the text, where in the yellow text. There you go. That little arrowhead next to where it says CR bug. The little arrowhead. There you go. That. All right, so it doesn't say anything. JS module files are deprecated. No idea what that means. Or what that's referring to anyway. Okay. Couldn't be accessed, move deleted. All right, so show me your folder. All right, and your JS, go into your, oh, go back. Go to your JS folder. Why don't you just delete those files? Because, if we have to get them, it's, all right, script01.js. All right, hit back, go to your HTML folder. All right, 2, 3, 4. Okay, fine. Back. All right, so let's look at your code. Go to your oh,
mm-hmm.
go scroll up for me. All right, index. So you named your pages page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. So mine, so in line 6,
Yeah.
here, put page 2.
Oh, so like I have to name it that way, right?
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah.
Oh my. All right, all right.
The index is correct, right? No, no, that was fine. That was fine. Index. And then page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. All right, try that and see what happens. Try it there too. So it's working, right? I'm not sure what those little
Probably like.
oh yeah, so you're go to those pages and just delete the reference to the script files. That's what that is telling us, yeah, those script 2, script 3 thing at the top. No, you can leave that. That's fine. It's just the script 2 and script 3 at the top.
Uh.
In so lines 8 and 9, yeah.
Okay.
Lines
Okay.
8 and 9. Since you don't have those yet, it's just giving you an issue with saying it can't locate them.
Yeah. All right.
All right, good.
All right. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's good. This is what it's for. Okay. Does anybody else have questions or problems they need to help clearing up? No? Everybody's good? All right. So why don't we take it's 11:05. Why don't we take uh let's just take a short break today. 10 minutes. Okay. So come back around 11:15 and we'll do some more. See y'all in a few minutes. Okay, here we are again. So we're going to do one more script that deals with arrays. Where we're going to kind of create a bit of a kind of slideshow. And so we need a series of images. I have, let's see, I think I got 5 images. Yeah, I put 5 images in my images folder. So you need to get some images and put it in your images folder. Excuse me, my bad. Mine are images of clouds, but it can be anything. So while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up my screen. Okay, I'm going to make a few little changes here to the way the page looks. So I'm going to go to my CSS. I want to put a gradient in the background. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I just wanted to put a gradient there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put one of my images here. I have these 5 images. Cloud 1 through 5. Okay, so I'm going to do that in my index. I'm going to give it an ID. I don't call it slides because it's going to behave a bit like a slideshow. Right? It's going to cycle through the images. I'm going to start, in my case, with clouds01.jpg. It's not going to be a slideshow yet. It's just going to be, when I go back to my index, there we go. There it is. Huge image, but I need to make it smaller. So the image is there. Make it a bit smaller. I'm going to put a break here between. So there's a little bit, 2 breaks. Forgot. So inline tag. There we go. We add that little space there. Now CSS to make the image fit within my wrapper. So I added the space, the image is there. Just need to make my image, which goes way beyond the wrapper, I need to make it fit within the wrapper. Do that in styles. There we go. Okay, so we have our image there. We've sized it so that it fits within the browser, so it's small. And we have given it an ID of slides here. Okay, so I'm going to add another script tag. I'm going to copy this script tag and call it script02. This is only going to be for the home page, right? For the index, so I don't need to add that to the other pages, right? So the other pages are not going to have images in them, only the home page. I mean, I could have the other pages have images in them, but I'm just going to do it for the home page. So I'm only linking the home page to script2, the index. So I'm going to go to my JavaScript folder and create a new file and give it that name, script2. Script2.js. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do here is, like we did on Tuesday, create an array of the images, right? So create array of image names. And mine are all clouds 01 through 05, right? So clouds, you should put whatever names you have, right? .jpg. Okay. I'm also going to create a variable I'll call F, which is going to contain the folder name, which is, oops, images slash, right? Images slash. So the images, it's going to cycle through the images from beginning to end, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, by using these index numbers, right? So it's basically just going to count. Then when it reaches 4, right, it's going to add from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4. We can't go to 5 because there is no 5. So when it gets to 4, it's going to switch back to 0. So it's just going to cycle through, but I need a variable for that. So which I'll call I, and it's going to start at 0. It doesn't have to start at 0. It could start at any one of those. If I liked image 3 the best, I could start with image 3 if I wanted, right? So I have those two variables and my array. Now I need to create a function to cause it to cycle through those images, right? That make it change from one image to the next image. And I'm just going to call that function change img. I just made that up, right? So I could give it any name I wanted. Oops. Okay, so keep in mind, I need to increment, if I start at 0, which I is starting at 0, and I want to switch from one image to the next, I have to increment I from 0 to 1, and then 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3, and then 3 to 4, right? So long as it's less than 5, I'm incrementing upwards. But then when it gets to 4, it needs to go back to 0, right? All right, so we have those two conditions. If it's less than 4, we increment upwards, right? If it's 4 or greater, then we need to go back to 0. So there's two conditions, less than 4 or equal to 4, basically. So if the value of I is less than 4, increment its value by 1. Otherwise, reset back to 0, right? That's what we have to do. We have to keep increasing it up until we get to 4, then we reset back to 0. So we start over again. So that's a conditional. If I is less than 4, but another way of saying 4 is imgs, which is the name of my array, dot length minus 1, right? So the length is 5. There's 5 images. So the length of imgs is 5, but I don't want 5. I want that minus 1, right? Which is the last index number, 4. Okay. If it's less than that, if it's less than 4, which is imgs.length minus 1, then we want to increment it, just as it says right here. I plus plus is what increments it up by 1. Otherwise, else, we want to set it back to 0. I equals 0. Okay. So that is changing the value of I. It changes the value of I from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and so on, over and over and over again. Every time we call this, it's going to increment that upwards. Or when it reaches 4, reset it back to 0. Now, we have to, this is just changing the value of I. Now we have to put the image in the page. Put new image into page. Document, because remember we have that ID in the index. We have the slides ID here, right? Document dot get element by ID slides dot, since that's an image, src is an attribute of images, right? So we can put src equals, well, we have the folder where the images are located, which is images slash, so f plus, and then we have the variable, the array plus the index number. So imgs I. So this is where we change the value of I. That doesn't do anything to the image, that just changes the value of I. This is where we put the image in the page with the I value that's always changing. Okay. Now we have to figure out a way to call or activate this function. I don't want to do it with a button this time. I wanted to do it automatically. I want this image to just change after a second passes. So it's going to change, and then a second passes, it's change again, another second passes, it changes again. It just happens automatically. Well, the computers are connected to have clocks, right? They're connected to the international clock. So we have in the upper right corner in a Mac, you have the time, right? So we can access that time. And we can set an interval, right? So that it calls this function and activates the function after an interval of time has passed. Setting interval to call function above every, say, let's start at 1 second, which is, the computer counts not by seconds, but by milliseconds, which is 1,000 milliseconds. Okay. So there's a JavaScript function called set interval. Notice there's an uppercase I. Set interval is the function. What do we want to do? Well, we want to call this function every second, right? So we're calling the function. We put the name of the function, which is change image. That's the name of my function, right? Change image. And then what's the interval? 1,000 means 1,000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. We can always change that number. So let's reload the page, and hopefully every 1 second it changes the image to some random, to increments the image. If that's too fast, maybe it is, then we can set this to say 2 seconds. Okay, could that work for y'all?
Yeah.
So we still can go to the random page. Send my money. And if I ever get back to the index, it starts over again. Okay. So I think that's enough for today. I don't want, there's something else I want to do that's sort of connected to this stuff, but it's a larger endeavor. So we'll save that for Tuesday. We have 2 more classes remaining only. This summer term zips by really fast. So just a word, I've put up the project, which is, I think for most of you, the best bet would be to just continue with the project that you have. And I'm sorry I didn't submit your evaluations of the first project yet. I'm doing that today, finishing it today. So that'll be up so that it'll help you like thinking about how to revise your project. I think that's the best route to go, honestly. Um, so if you really don't want to do that, if you want to start a brand new project, that's perfectly fine. It's entirely up to you. The reason I think it's a better route is just because of time purposes, right? So what you'll be doing is just adding features, JavaScript features, or anything else you might want to add to your project if you want to build upon it. So there are some requirements. Take a look, and I put the description for project 2 up. It's up there. So take a look at it. I know that you don't know that much about JavaScript still. So try not to let that hinder you, but start thinking about what you might want to see in your page. Maybe it's stuff we've already done, but maybe it's something I haven't done yet that you think we could figure out, right? And so this is going to be a little bit of a um, like me helping you figure out for each person slightly different things, right? Because each of your projects have different requirements, and you may have different desires about what your page is going to do based on your own content, right? Based on your own narrative. So start thinking about what you would like your page to do. Put that in your proposal, which will be due Tuesday. And we'll take a look at that, and we'll talk about the feasibility of your goals, right? If I think you're not being ambitious enough, I'll tell you. If I think you're being too ambitious, I'll say, well, that's going to take a lot of work. If you want to tackle that, that'd be great. But I'll make sure and let you know what I think is maybe going to take too much time. So our last class will be next Thursday, right? The project won't be due then, though. The project will be due I'll give you the weekend, and you'll be due on Monday. So Tuesday, the following Tuesday is July 4th. We don't have classes, obviously, on July 4th. And so I'm giving you can turn it in as whenever you like, right? I mean, once you get it done, you can submit it. But I'm giving you until July 3rd, the morning of July 3rd, to turn it in. If you want to take all that time, that's entirely up to you, how much time you take. I'm going to be really flexible on the due dates and stuff. So even if you need a little more time than that, I can probably be a little flexible with that. But it's, so I don't, I don't know if you're taking classes in the next session or if you're done now. Either way, if you're taking classes in the next session, you don't want to like have this class lingering on for very long. And if you're taking a break and you're done, you don't want it lingering on because you're done, right? So the summer is really relatively intense. So if you think you need another day or two, we can discuss it, right? So try not to feel too pressured about the end due date. Okay. All right, so that's it for today. Take a look at the requirements. Please read thoroughly. Make sure you understand what the requirements are for the second project. and for the proposal. And if you have questions, let me know. Okay.
All right. All right. Have a nice day.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, you have a question?
Oh yeah. I cannot change my image every second.
Oh, okay. So how about we take a look at it?
Oh,
Let me make you co-host.
okay.
All right, you're ready to go. All right, so let's see. So do me a favor, first off, go to your images folder on the left there. All right, so Revo 1, JPG, Revo 2. Okay, so they're named Reef through 7. Okay, you might as well, since you have 7 images, you might as well go ahead and put them all. So, add the other 3 images, 5, 6, and 7 to your array. Go ahead and do that.
Or I can
No,
just
don't. No. Go ahead and add them because the more the better, right? Just copy and paste that line of code and add, change the numbers. There you go. Yeah, might as well. All right. So are you getting an error when you run it or not? Okay, so let's see what it says. Document.getElementById is not a function. Oh, you don't have the B in document.getElementById in uppercase.
hmm,
Line 31 in your code.
okay.
31
31
in your code.
by number 31 here. Okay.
Yeah, so document.getElementById, the B needs to be uppercase. B, not D. B. There you go. Uppercase. Nope. Back. Right there.
Capital?
Yep.
Ah, okay.
It's easy to make those mistakes. So run that, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
There you go.
yeah, it works.
Okay, so last thing is to make it fit. So yeah, go to there. Exactly.
Yeah.
IMG. Don't change the width and height. It's also not IMG with a. Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah, there's fine. 100%. But change the. Why do you have IMG there? All right. So go back.
Go
Go back.
back
Yeah.
to CSS. Okay.
Yeah, to CSS. Get rid of the image in line 43 and just leave IMG because you don't have that ID, right? No, not that, the other image, the word image,
At the
the
word.
the ID, because you don't have that in your HTML. There you go. Try that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't have the image ID in your HTML.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Oh, that's all. Thank you. And uh when will you leave the feedback about the first project?
Today, I promise.
Hey,
I'm so
thank,
sorry. I
thank you.
promise.
I
Okay. All
thank you so much. Okay.
right, you're welcome. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.